United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Would you take a roll, please?
Councilmember White?
Here.
Councilmember Cook?
Here.
Councilmember Fairley?
Here.
Councilmember Osborne? Here. Councilmember Thomas?
Here.
Presentation tonight. First one is oath of office for Officer Sarah Lee.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Last Wednesday, thank you to those who attended. Officer Lee graduated the Basic Law Enforcement Academy at CJTC. And of course, right after they graduate, we bring them in and swear them in front of you. So Sarah's from the local area. Before I have her tell a little bit about herself, we're really excited. She's already started her training with Sergeant Fan. That's who she's going to be with for the next month. But Sarah, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. Right up front, yeah.
So I was born in Atlanta, and most of my life was here. And I went to school pretty close by in Auburn, so I'm pretty familiar with the area. I'm excited to learn, and I've always wanted to be in law enforcement, so this is like a dream come true. So I'm excited to be here and excited to learn.
Yeah, she also brought her mom and dad with her tonight. So,
My parents do that.
so you're gonna step up here, and city clerk's gonna swear you in.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
Sarah Lee,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will be alert and vigilant
that I will be alert and vigilant
to enforce the criminal laws
to enforce the criminal laws
of this state,
of this state,
that I will not be influenced
that I will not be influenced
in any manner on account
in any matter of account
of personal bias
of personal bias
or prejudice,
or prejudice,
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
execute the duties
execute the duties
of my office
of my office
as a law enforcement officer
as a law enforcement officer
according to the best of my skill,
according to the best of my skill,
abilities,
abilities,
and judgment,
and judgment.
so help me God.
So help me God. Congratulations.
You're good to go.
Congratulations, Dad, for coming.
Next, we'll have the Public Works Director confirmation, John Bielka. Did I say that right, John?
Yes. Right.
All right.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, if you could introduce yourself, give a little background.
Sure.
Of that.
I was born in Germany, raised in Canada, where I spent most of my life. Since 2005, I've been living here in Washington State. I've got a degree in civil engineering, and I've been looking after large infrastructure projects all my life, be it distribution centers, fish farms, feed plants, processing facilities, and so forth. My hobbies include looking after my wife's cows and growing functional mushrooms for their health benefits. So that's a little bit about myself. I look forward to hearing the direction that the council would like the Public Works Director to take and figuring out problems and going forward.
So from there, you would make the appointment as mayor, and then the council would confirm the appointment. Make a motion to confirm.
I'll make a motion that we confirm, I don't make a motion, somebody confirm John as public works director.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the mayor to work to sign in our new public works director and work out all the necessary details.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you.
So we will also do an oath of office since this is an appointed position.
I state your name,
I, John Bielka,
have been duly appointed
have been duly appointed
to the office of
to the office of
City of Algona Public Works Director.
City of Algona Public Works Director.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of this office
discharge the duties of this office
as prescribed by law
as prescribed by law
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
and that I will support
and I will support,
and maintain the Constitution
and maintain the Constitution
of the State of
of
Washington
the State of Washington
and the United States of America.
and the United States of America. No dean tonight? No dean tonight? Make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passed.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Did everybody get a chance to look at the consent agenda? Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say nay. Passed. Reports, Mr. White.
Yes, I recently attended the AWC networking dinner and got to hear County Councilman Constantine
He got
Dow.
executive.
Speak, and it was an interesting speech, to say the least, even though he said this was his last networking event, so anyhow. It was interesting.
Thank you, Mr. White. Thank you. Mr. Cook.
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Fairley.
No reports today.
Thank you. Ms. Osborne.
I have nothing, I already gave my speech.
Okay. Mr. Thomas.
Yeah, I really don't have a report. I would like to say I attended a graduation this past week, but I just walked in on the picture taking. But anyway,
It's a thought to count, sir. And that's on me. Somehow the invitations didn't make it over here. I'll take full responsibility.
I was kind of basing it on the same time last year.
Yeah.
It's a guess for me. But
All good.
anyway, I tried. And that's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Chief Shropshire.
Okay, good evening again. I already talked about Officer Lai graduating the academy. You have my written report in front of you. Since the first of the year, 876 calls for service. That's split between the months of January and February. Out of those calls for service, 422 of those were traffic stops. So you can pretty much roughly split that number in two, and that's how many traffic stops per month we've done for January and February. On the subject of traffic, last week I had a meeting on Friday with the Washington Traffic Safety Commission. If you remember a couple months back, I talked about we were in the final running for a grant to fund a full-time traffic/DUI enforcement officer. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough money to go around, but we got a consolation prize. They're going to fund DUI patrols two shifts a week, 8-hour shifts a week, until from April 1st to October 1st. They're going to pay for all the overtime. One caveat they asked is, hey, you need to do an outreach campaign. So I reached out to the city's PR firm, see if they'd be willing to assist. They have. And so the Traffic Safety Commission is going to pay for the whole thing. We're looking at roughly 40 grand to make that happen. Next topic, municipal court last Thursday. Last week was a busy week for sure. Ms. Kari and I attended our first meeting of the year with the municipal judge. We talked about the traffic school. She loves the ability of sending people to the traffic school. She had some suggestions for a flyer, updating our flyer. We also talked about doing a tab on the city's website just for the traffic school to make life easier for everybody. Ms. Kari's working on that, and we also are going to be updating the flyer. The other thing that the judge had, we talked about streamlining the process, kind of save us some costs. So it's good that the judge is looking there. Lastly, judge would love to come meet the council. So I'm probably going to, in May, her calendar and our calendar seem to work. Probably the second council meeting in May should be here in front of you. So last week, Sergeant Fan, Ms. Kari, Ms. Jessica, and I attended the Northwest Leadership Conference in Portland. It's a long-standing conference where leaders, not just police and fire, but management throughout government get together. They have a lot of great speakers. The coalition sponsored the Coalition of Small Police Agencies. We agreed to fund everyone that went this year with coalition money. And as you guys are aware, the legislature funds the coalition every year. So we had money in our training budget. And so Ms. Kari, Sergeant Fan, and I, all our expenses are getting covered by the coalition. So lastly, I'm working with the Washington State Auto Theft Authority. And I'm trying to secure some funding for 2 license plate reader cameras that we can put inside the city. I've gotten quotes. I've spoken to the director of the Washington State Auto Theft Authority, and who's a retired chief from Bonnie Lake, Brian Jeter, a good friend. And I'm working through that process. So I'll keep you in the loop, but I'm asking for full funding. I'm also going to have the LPR camera company come in and do a presentation so you guys are fully aware of what the capabilities are. And then we'll also maybe at a workshop talk about policy and what I'm going to do around policy if we're able to secure the funding to get that done. Other than that, I'm going to make sure I'll stand for any questions.
I know, yes, correct. DUIs can happen anywhere, but is there some kind of, is there an area that's a particular hotspot?
Obviously, West Valley's hot for us with DUI collisions. Ellingson Road in West Valley, as you guys know, that we own a sliver of that area. We've actually had 2 DUI collisions there this year. We had one in the middle of the town. Councilmember Thomas, hey, why was Algona Boulevard blocked off? It's because we were pulling a car out from a DUI collision. So there is an uptick in Algona, and there's an uptick statewide. That's why this funding, even though we're in a budget crunch, that's why this funding is available. So we got selected as a small agency. The city of Tacoma, is my understanding, they're going to be selected as well for a large agency. And so the goal of this program is to try to reduce ours by half by doing these specialized DUI only patrols. And the officers that are attending, they have advanced roadside impairment evaluation, ARID. I probably missed that because I hate acronyms. But at the end of the day, they have specialized training in DUI detection.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief Sheriff. City Administrator Price.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, so the wetland preserve, the 3rd phase is out for bid right now. We just had the pre-bid site walk last week. We had pretty good attendance, so we're looking forward to the bid opening on the 20th. The comp plan, talking to Zach today, we have not yet had a public hearing with Planning Commission, and so we are going to ask council to table that tonight and have that for the first Planning Commission meeting. We continue continue to find things from Atwell working on our comp plan that was missed, and luckily we caught this before we passed it without a public hearing with planning commission. So we're gonna get that taken care of at this next meeting and have it for passage the first April meeting with council. I apologize for this oversight. I'm just glad we caught it before, you know, I went to the state and they realized what happened. Let's see. Public Works, the guys have been working hard on jetting the sewer system in preparation for the sewer assessment that's happening this year. They've also been working really hard to keep up with the potholes on Ellingson, and as well as West Valley, and working on clearing the storm drains and making sure they stay cleared. And of course, starting March 17th, welcome to our new Public Works Director. We're excited to have him on starting next week. Other than that, any questions?
Well, I can wait. Public Works Director actually is. I just driving here today, First Avenue is, I don't know, there are a couple of pretty good humps in it. I don't know what's going on. Right before, you know, down here in the right hand turn coming down the road here, there's a couple. They look like they run the full length of the road, so I don't know. It doesn't.
Didn't we have discussions at one time about the road settling and those are actually from the actual pipe in the ground?
The gas lines or water line.
Water lines, yeah. And I think we were gonna, at some point, we were gonna grind them down. John?
I'm writing it down. Writing it down, yeah.
You want a legal pad?
I'm just gonna give you a week. Yeah. Okay, that's all I have to say. Just something I noticed.
Chief, can I revert back? Can we talk about the HODU a little bit?
All right, so I'll try to keep it non-executive session. So, as you guys know, it's a matter of public record that the HODU apartment complex here in the middle of the town was deemed a fire hazard. And by our hearing examiner, there's a public notice went out and a decision rendered. And so since that time, the owner of the HODU has been being fined $250 to a day. I think the last time, as of last Friday, that was up to $33,000. There were timelines set in the ruling by the hearing examiner, and the last deadline was February 8th for him to apply for a demolition permit. That being said, no demolition permit was applied for, so we are going through with the evacuation of the building, and that is going to occur shortly. But the tenants have been provided, we went over there, provided 2 rounds of written notice. We basically hung a notice on every door. We spoke to whoever was home. We put it on the board outside. And so very shortly we will be evacuating that and then permanently boarding that structure up. That does not negate the fines that the owner is going to continue to accumulate until that demolition permit is applied for as required by the hearing examiner's ruling. Zach, our city attorney, is involved. Ms. Jessica and I are both intricately involved in that. And we want to make sure that we handle that above board. So, does that work for you, Mr. Mayor?
That works perfect.
Yes, sir, Councilmember Fredo.
Is there gonna be like a fence put around it or something so they don't come back in, or are we just gonna board it and pray, or?
When you say fence, we have to be very careful what we talk about there, but we will secure the premises the best we can under the legal parameters that have been set forth. How's that?
That works for me.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
I just have a brief report. I thank the local resident that that's here, I won't mention any names, but I've been in negotiation with Waste Management. What was suggested is some of the residents around town, and I don't know how many people we have leave in the wintertime, but some people leave in the summertime for a month or 2 months, and we didn't have the ability to shut the garbage service off, and they would have to continue to pay for their garbage service. And so I was able to negotiate with Waste Management, not an MOU, but an actual addition to the contract that allows people, they have to be gone for more than a month. And if they're gone for more than a month, they can shut their garbage off and turn it back on. We didn't have that ability before, which is good. That led to another thing that Waste Management talked to me about, and that was delinquent accounts. And so Waste Management in their contract has the right, and we haven't done it in the past, and we're going to start doing it. We don't collect, but they will collect delinquent accounts. Right now, outstanding, there's $22,502 in delinquent accounts out there. And so that when it hits 90 days, they're going to start shutting the garbage off. And then we'll work with our public works to enforce our code to make sure that the garbage gets cleaned up. It's mandatory in the city that you have garbage service. So anyway, that's what I have as good news. Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated. And that's all I have. Any questions for me on that?
Do those go to collections then through Waste Management?
Through Waste Management, not through the city, so it's up to Waste Management to collect.
Is there a fee to turn it on and off?
No, not to turn it on and off. There's a fee though if they shut it off and turn it back on. Or if after 90 days and they shut it off, if they want to restart their service, then they have the normal fees to restart the service. But not if you shut it off.
Not for vacation, only for.
Right, correct. And it's gotta be, you gotta be gone for more than a month to do that. Oh, and I did attend the SCA meeting with, Mr. White and, listen to the King County Executive talk. It was interesting. Highest participation. City Council encourages public participation during the meetings of the City Council and welcomes your comments. This time is set aside for you to speak to the City Council on any issue. The Council ordinarily takes non-agenda matters under advisement before taking action. You're also invited to comment on action items as they are considered during the meeting. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each in addressing the City Council. When addressing the Council, please speak clearly and audibly and state your name and address for the record.
Stopwatch, Ricky David. Good evening. My name is Rick Connell, 340 Milwaukee Boulevard South. I came here for the comprehensive plan, but I guess that's going to be next month. So one thing that came up in the planning commission meeting last Thursday was the volume of truck traffic, commercial truck traffic coming up Milwaukee Boulevard. So I would like to ask the City Council about putting a sign before the trucks make the turn onto Milwaukee Boulevard. So they have signs that go up on the lights in the left-hand turn lane that will have a little truck and a arrow and a circle with a line through it. So trucks know don't turn here. Maybe a sign that says truck route to continue east on Ellingson.
The problem is that specific.
Can we work with specific?
Yeah, that intersection makes sense. Pacific Avenue is, believe it or not, a specific property, and so is the left turn the road up here. Is that Pacific or is it?
Pacific in Ellington?
Yeah.
It's ours, all but the far southeast
But what
corner.
about Milwaukee and Ellington?
Milwaukee and Ellington is all Pacific. Yeah, ours doesn't pick up again until after the
So
railroad
we
track.
can put signs up when they get to Algona border on 5th Avenue South.
They don't have a place to turn once they reach that point. They don't know they have a place to turn. there might be a place. I mean, there's a truck trailer repair place right there on the corner. But a lot of these guys don't know that you can actually drive around. So then they continue up Milwaukee, and I think when they're loaded and they're kind of going a little bit faster because they want to get out of town before anybody gets the name on the side of the truck, I think they're causing more damage to the roadway as they're moving faster. So, is there any way to work with the city of Pacific?
I'll talk to the mayor. I'll get with the mayor of Pacific.
Yeah, sure. What do you think?
That would be my only way to do that.
They don't care really what happens to, I don't know. I've never met them, not in the last 20 years. I haven't been down there, but what do you think the odds are? No clue?
No clue. I've got a good relationship with Mayor Cave. We've worked hard to build a relationship and work together on some projects. So, you know, and I don't know if they have the same problem. I don't think they have trucks going down there. They all come down this way.
Because the industrial areas over this way.
Right.
So, okay, well, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Mayor, I appreciate that.
I'll report back what I figure out.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
there are certain roads in town that are designated truck routes. Like, I know First Avenue is a designated truck route, and Algona Boulevard, now I don't know if Milwaukee is or not. So that's something you're gonna have to look into, because if it's a designated truck route, then we cannot tell people they can't.
Chief, do you know if that's a designated?
I actually have the code filled up right now if you want me to read it. Overweight vehicles and those vehicles in excess of 8 feet in width, those vehicles in excess of 30 feet, including tractor trailers, all vehicles transporting radioactive or hazardous cargo may operate on the following streets without an overweight permit: West Valley Highway, Ellingson Road, Boundary Boulevard to O Street, those streets within the industrial area, also known as the Auburn 400 Corporate Park, located in the northeast portion of the city. So your designated truck routes are West Valley Highway, Ellingson Road, Boundary to O, and the industrial area.
And we do allow for deliveries.
We do allow for local deliveries, that is correct. So if they're delivering to the corner store, which is why you see them coming down first, they're delivering stuff to the corner store, that is allowed.
Can they be cited if they're driving on that road?
They can be cited for overweight, yes, without a permit
Over length.
and weight, because we have a 7,500 restriction on our roads.
And there's a sign there.
You're correct.
There's a sign that indicates that, but once they get to that point where they can read that sign, they're committed.
Well, it's
With
not
a
that we
53
don't-
footer.
If we see them, we stop
Yeah, but the damage is already done.
them. I know, but what do you, Rick, I mean, I agree that maybe a sign, if we can get Pacific to put a sign up, I agree with that. But other than that, you know, if we don't catch them doing it,
Sure. Right. What do you
When I
want,
come
phone
to
pole?
work, when I drive to work, if I see a truck, I call into the non-emergency line, I let them know. There's a truck coming down Main. That's where I see them on Main Street also.
Right.
So the exemptions are for vehicles, government agencies, so a fire truck, emergency vehicles, solid waste disposal vehicles, vehicles transporting perishable goods and commodities to a location within the city for a local delivery, recreational vehicles, including motorhomes, campers, and travel trailers. Those are the 4 exemptions to the types of vehicles.
It really depends on how Pacific has Milwaukee rated between Ellingson and Fifth, because that's commercial to them.
Sure.
So they may
Just trying to protect our city street and our neighborhood,
Yeah.
our residential neighborhood.
We're with you. The boundaries, Fifth Avenue South is where our boundary is, and it's the very north side of Fifth Avenue South.
Should we like put a sign there next to the one that says no trucks, that says turn here, go down there? So that they have an idea where they can get out without continuing down Milwaukee or up Milwaukee.
We'll look into it.
Okay, all right, that was,
And
Sure.
disparaging or anything like that.
Well, it came up in the planning commission meeting, and they said that they are not the place to initiate new business. They're an advisory committee, so the best bet was to come to the city council meeting and get the ball rolling here.
Perfect.
Great, thank you, sir.
Anything else, sir?
I do have a couple other things, but I'd like to defer to anybody else who's got something else first.
Anybody have anything else? Go ahead, Rick.
So about this fence code for the city of Algona. And how can we do something to increase the allowable fence height from 6 foot to 8 foot? I would like to have an 8-foot security fence and keep critters out. Especially along the front where there's like a 4-foot height restriction. Again, that's not something the planning commission can touch until they get a recommendation to touch it from the city council. I'm not suggesting blowing up the entire and rewriting the entire fence code, but I do believe nobody wants to see a wall, an avenue of 8-foot plywood or fence board. But if there can be some type of exemption or exception for transparent fences such as hog wire fences or something, invite public comment. Again, I still have several neighbors waiting to hear how this is going, and this is how it's going. So I don't know how other people feel about it other than the people that I've spoken with.
You guys ever do any kind of a variance on something like that, or?
Yeah, I used to be on the Board of Adjustments committee, and we'd have people come to us to look for a variance to those types of codes. And right now, that committee has been dissolved or in limbo or whatever. So that was the avenue people could take to come to the city and ask for that. And of course, that had to be approved by council for the variance.
What was the success rate?
We'd meet like every 4 months. So it was something real easy at each time, you know, a small lot line adjustment or whatever, things like that. So
Actually, it's now done through the hearing examiner in our code.
now it's through the hearing.
Yeah, they can apply for a variance to the hearing and have the hearing examiner make a ruling on it.
You guys feel that's the best way? I'll do that, but then I've got my neighbors and then they're gonna wanna do it too. Those that wanna follow through on it. I mean, some people wanna do it, but you know, I mean, it's just not something that everybody's gonna leave to do right away. It could be down the road.
Are you talking about in front of your house, or are you talking about along Milwaukee?
Well, I want a fence in the north, east, and south side of my yard with an 8-foot fence. But to get it to line up at the front, I need a 6-foot fence along Milwaukee Boulevard South so that it's level, right? But I don't need to go the entire distance. Since I live on a corner, we have to maintain that setback for visibility. That's not an issue for me because I don't want to fence in that part of my yard. I want to fence in the vulnerable part that's less visible at night. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's secluded, but there's more opportunities to hide and things through there. So that's why I want to get that going.
Well, I think your best bet is to go to the hearing examiner, let him make a ruling, and then bring it to the council. That would be the best way for you to go.
Great. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Anything else?
See me after the meeting, I have some thoughts on it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Well, I've got one other issue that's pressing for me.
Okay.
If nobody else has anything, I don't want to monopolize everybody's time. This is what happens, you live in the city almost 25 years and suddenly you have a bunch of things you want to do. When we're doing this ADU thing, I understand that's not this meeting, but the whole thing about the ADUs, when we're talking about the foundation code requirements for doing foundations, helical pier I'd like to see be engineered, I mean, it'd be engineered work with a licensed engineer.
And Rick, I think you're a little ahead of yourself, because there's still some state law stuff that's gotta be deciphered. Let us get through the state law, figure out what that exactly is, and then you can,
Is that on the ADUs?
yeah, it's on ADUs, it's on any accessory dwelling, housing. So,
Yeah, plus there's another one going through the floor now for allowing RV trailers to be occupied on parcels as well. So we're keeping an eye on all that.
I just don't wanna miss it and not be here at a meeting, which is why I'm at the council meeting tonight. I promised the mayor I wouldn't show up here anymore. But I wanna get that in there before they adopt that comprehensive plan, if that's something that's gonna be difficult to change once that's
I don't
adopted.
think that's gonna be anything difficult to change, we just need to get to the point where they decide what ADUs and what can be on the property, et cetera, et cetera.
It still has to be safe. They're
Yeah.
built to code, so
Sure.
however big or small they are.
Right. Okay, I'll wait on that.
Yeah, and planning commission will look at it first, so I would attend planning commission meetings so they hear your input as well.
But they can't do anything with it.
They have a
That's what they told me. They said that, you know, the new business has to be brought up before the city council first. And then the city council has to recommend or put it on their to-do list for them to explore.
You're talking about the fence code is what we were talking about.
Well, yeah,
Not
right.
the ADUs, they're still, John is still working on that.
Mhm.
He needs to get all the legislative stuff together, is what we discussed the other night.
Right.
And then he would present it to us, and then the planning commission will recommend to city council, is what John told us the other night.
Right.
Right.
I didn't bring up the helical pier because I forgot about that. That's what I'm bringing it up tonight because it's new business.
Yeah, that's all planning commission.
Yeah.
And so if I need to straighten that out, I will.
Okay,
They're the ones that do that.
probably
I'll
talk to
take
them.
care of that.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes.
Rick and I are friends, so it's not being sarcastic.
It's a love-hate relationship. I love him, he hates me.
All set?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Move on to item 9, discussion items, ordinance number 1249-25, updating the Algona Municipal Code.
All right, so this is to update our court services to reflect the King County District Court rather than the Pacific Municipal Court.
This will be second touch.
Nothing's changed since the first one.
No, sir.
Any other questions or comments? There's no new business, no old business, ordinances and resolution. Item A is resolution 1295-25, 2026-2035 water resource inventory area, which is 3 and 9 interlocal agreement.
I make a motion to approve resolution 1295-25.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve resolution 1295-25. Is there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Item B is ordinance number 1250-25, 2024 comprehensive plan.
I make a motion to table this ordinance until our next meeting or until a public hearing has been made.
I second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passed. Next workshop, I think, I was gonna bring this up to you before. I think I'm gonna have Jeanette come in and go over the changes with waste management.
Great.
And next workshop.
Waste management's coming.
Yeah. That's always our favorite.
Still have a car.
Yeah. Actually, Laura's retired. We found that out the other night. So I don't know who our new rep's gonna be. Anything else you guys want to see at the next workshop? Does anybody have anything for the good of the order?